I've created an environment where it's easier to learn the basics behind wall sweeps and reveals. The first thing I'd like to do is, on one of these walls, draw a wall baseboard, but have that baseboard be part of the wall type. To have a baseboard be part of a wall type, you first need to select on the wall. Then, once the wall's been selected, come up to Properties, and then select on Edit Type. I really want to leave this interior 3 1/8" partition 1 hour wall there, but I want to add a baseboard to another wall that has the same properties as this type of wall. To accomplish that, we'll select on the Duplicate button. Then for the name, we'll remove the 2, then type in base, then click on OK. Now we have a wall with the same properties, except it's now named base. And now we need to add the baseboard to this wall type. For the structure, go to the Edit button. Here underneath Edit Assembly, the first thing we need to do is enable our preview. I'm going to make this window just a little bit smaller by just clicking on the line over here, holding my mouse button down and then dragging, and then selecting on the preview button. Now we can see a preview of the way that the wall looks in plan view. Now I want to change the way the preview displays so that it shows section view. By turning on the section view of the wall, we now have some extra properties available to us, and those show up underneath Modify Vertical Structure. The first thing we need to do is add a sweep to this wall. So select on Sweeps. Now a sweep is really just a two-dimensional profile shape that gets extruded along the entire length of a wall. This profile shape will become our baseboard down at the base of our wall. Click on the Add button because we need to add a profile shape to the wall. Now we could just use the default profile shape, which is a rectangle, but I want to change that to be a different profile shape. So click where we have default, then click on the little down arrow toward the right. What you'll see on the list are all the different profile shapes which are currently loaded into this project. And unfortunately, none of them are really appropriate for that profile shape that we want down at the base of the wall. So what we need to do is load a new profile shape into the project. Come down to Load Profile. After clicking on Load Profile, there's 2 different spots where you can load that profile in. The first area is that if you have your Revit family content loaded, you can scroll down until you find Profiles, double click, and then you'll have a listing of all your different profiles. And if you've done this already and you can find those profiles, just stay where you're at. If for some reason you don't have those profiles available, you can go to your exercise files folder, go to Chapter 3, and I've included the same profile shape folder here underneath Chapter 3. Once you're underneath Profiles, there's a few different areas that we can go to, and the first one that you may go to is called Wall. If you double click on Wall, you'll see that we have cornices, parapets, different shapes that could be added to our walls. Personally though, none of these are the shapes that I want to add, so I'm going to click on the little back arrow, then go to Finish Carpentry. And here we can see that we have different kinds of profile shapes, including bases. And that's what I want to add, is one of these base shapes. And I don't care which one of the bases that you use. I'm personally going to use base 3, but if you choose to use either base 1 or base 2, everything will work exactly the same way. Click on Open. Now all we've actually have done is just loaded that profile shape into the project. We now need to assign that profile shape to the wall. Here you can see all of my base 3s. and it's loaded in each size associated with that profile shape. I'm just going to choose the largest one, the 7 1/4 by 9 16. Also, there's an option here for materials. By clicking where it has by category, there'll be a little dot over here. You can click on that little box or dot, and it'll open up the material browser. And from here, you can choose any of these materials off the list or create your own materials for that baseboard that's going to go around the perimeter. Now, I just want something that has a different color associated to it than what the wall has. So I'm just going to pick this cherry off the list. Next, select on OK. Now we have a profile shape that has a certain material associated with it. There's also an option here of from. Base is the bottom of the wall. Top is, well, the top of the wall. Distance is how far off the base or the top that you want that profile shape to actually be when it draws it in. You also can choose between the exterior side or interior side of the wall. And what I want to do is have this profile shape be on just my interior side of the wall. Once all that's been accomplished, come down here to OK. Then click over here inside of your preview area, move your cursor down toward the bottom of the wall, and then just spin the wheel of your mouse. And what you'll see is that new profile shape now added to your wall type. Come down here, click on OK. Click on OK one more time. Now, if we zoom in, we can see that for this type of wall, we now have a baseboard of whichever shape that you chose down at the base of that wall. And if we would change any of the other walls in our project to match that kind of wall type, they too would end up getting that baseboard down at their base. So select on one of the other walls in your project, come up to the type selector list, click on the type selector list, then pick the 3/8" partition 1 hour base. Click over here, and you'll notice that this wall also has that baseboard there on the interior side of the wall.